How many of you have ever bet on yourself when no one else would?
I'm unemployable.
What made you keep going?
I don't think there was any option. There's no option but survival. The number one thing for me was I didn't want to lose any of my people along the way.
What does success cost that nobody talks about?
It could cost a relationship. It could cost you time with your children. It could cost you friendships.
I have an unpopular opinion that employees secretly job hunting while still employed is a form of deceit. Tell us everything.
If someone says, oh mate, I'm enjoying this is the best job of my life, and then the next week leaves, that's deceit. And I've had that a couple of times. So, you know.
This is Real Biz, Real Life. The Real Biz Life Chronicles. Hosted by Tracy Fryer.
What if the most brilliant business owners have been hiding in the shadows and it's time to bring them into the light? Welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles. I'm your host, Tracy Fryer, and this is your grinding zone, where I sit down with real business owners just like you. We share the wins, the wreckage, and everything in between. Raw, honest, unscripted. Get ready to banish boring. Let's go. Before we dive into the episode, I need to ask a favor. If you are enjoying the show, if anything has resonated, or even if you've attempted to say yeah, like I often do, we ask that you please like and subscribe to our channels. You're not just supporting the show, but you're helping us build an incredible community of business owners who get it, who get each other, and who keep going no matter what. Share it with someone in your world today so they know they're not alone. Thank you. How many of you have ever bet on yourself when no one else would? When the safe option was right there in front of you and you chose the hard road anyway? My guest today has been doing exactly this his entire life. He grew up wanting to be a professional tennis player. Instead, he built something that required a completely different kind of game. Patience, strategy, and the ability to keep swinging even when you're losing. Over 20 years, he built and scaled tech companies across 2 continents. He left Australia, took on the UK, and then came back to Perth in 2017. And he did it all over again, founding Mechanical Rock, a company that solves hard business problems with software. He also holds an unpopular opinion that has got him into quite a bit of trouble. He believes that employees searching for a new job without telling their employer is a form of deceit. I'll let you make up your own mind on that one. But here's what makes this person truly rare. In a world full of leaders who manage people, this person actually sees them. He makes time for every single person on his team, not because it's in his job description, but because he genuinely cares. It's not a chore for him. He views it as an opportunity to really understand what's important to his people. Please welcome CEO and founder of Mechanical Rock, Hamish Tedeschi, to the Real Biz Life Chronicles.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Great to finally have this conversation, Hamish.
What an intro.
Was it accurate?
Yeah, broadly.
Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the best conversations are always had over a great cup of coffee. And so the coffee for each episode of the Real Biz Life Chronicles is sponsored by no other than the legends at Cuppa Cartel. They're fueling great conversations, one cuppa at a time. They offer a full corporate cuppa experience and personalized valet service for you and your crew at the office. For more information, head to the link in the show notes below. Tell us, you wanted to be a professional tennis player. Where did the entrepreneurial side come from?
Oh, the entrepreneurial side, I think, was part of my DNA. So my dad's been a business owner of some description for the better part of, ever since I was a kid. So I think it was just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
And also I'm unemployable. So
You and me both.
yeah, exactly. So there's no other opportunity available to me. So I had to start my own thing.
Yeah. So walk us through growing up with your dad being in business. Were you a part of the business or?
No, but obviously I'm cheap labour, so I was involved in it
Right.
in that way.
Yeah.
So in holidays or on holidays and, during break time, there would always be an element of going to the business and helping out if it was required.
Yeah.
But also just seeing how a business is operated and the struggles that a business owner has as well. So I wasn't, I wasn't. It wasn't a surprise to me.
Sure.
You know, when I've operated my own businesses to have those things. But you know, it's. I think it's a visceral thing when it's your own business as well. So you feel it differently.
So I guess, you know, working with your dad in the holidays and that, what was your viewpoint on business growing up?
I think it was probably always around backing yourself to be able to, if you see an opportunity or if you're you believe in a certain thing. So my dad has run restaurants. He's run packaging companies, mailing houses, so lots of different types of business. So it doesn't necessarily need to be one type of business. It just needs to be an idea that you can do something better, and you could potentially make money from that.
And I believe your sister's also in business.
She is indeed, yes. It runs in the family.
It
We're
clearly
all
does.
sadistic personalities that are unemployable. So
You guys don't have any other siblings, right? Just so
no, not that I know of anyway.
Oh,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah, just the two of us. So
Yeah.
yes.
So you built, and I hope I pronounced this name right. Is it Magentas?
Magentas.
Magentas, sorry, I do apologise. In the UK, walked away and started again from scratch in Perth. Most people would have stayed comfortable. What was going through your mind?
The move back to Perth was really more of a family-oriented move. I loved London. London was, you know, one of the best places you could be in your 20s and you know, enjoying life. But it's a great place to work as well, a great place to gain experience, meet connections, really understand business. But it's not a great place to raise a family.
Yeah.
We found ourselves doing the same thing every weekend, again and again. And with a young family, my wife is from Sweden, I'm from Australia, and we both wanted a similar upbringing for our kids than we had. And Sweden and Australia tend to have a similar but polar opposite upbringing in the sense that they're in the snow, we're at the beach. So we kind of wanted that for our kids, and it's been a great move, to be honest. Professionally, it's been hard, mainly on my wife. She was in investment banking, but also it's very different to London. But different in a good way, I've found. So there's still a lot of opportunity to do business in a place like Perth, you know, especially with the mining, oil and gas and the resources, but also the supporting businesses around as well. But it's a very different type of business. I was doing a lot of banking or investment banking technology. Over here, that doesn't really exist.
No.
Unless you've got clients in the East Coast. There's a couple, but nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, so you guys settle here now?
We are settled here and enjoying it. I think, you know, it took a few years to kind of settle down, but we've built a house and, you know, we're enjoying it. So, very lucky, very lucky.
And did you guys meet in London?
We met in London. We actually worked together. We'll never do again, but yeah.
Fair enough.
No, she is actually involved in one of the businesses that we are involved with as well. So she does some sales and relationship management work with that business. So it's good.
So Hamish, for our listeners, on that note, please walk us through all the wonderful things you're involved in.
I've got my fingers in a number of different pies now. I'll probably get it wrong. It's about maybe 7 businesses.
Wow.
So I'm either a sole owner or a major owner or a small shareholder of. And some of those are tech plays that Mechanical Rock has helped build. So we've taken an equity stake in those businesses. And others are completely unrelated. So I also have a marketing business, and which I'm the major shareholder of. And I have... Mechanical Rock is also started recently in the UK as well.
So maybe you say,
operationally, I'm not so involved, but as a shareholder, I am. So yeah, it's going well.
How do you keep across it all?
Very poorly.
I love that.
I have some, I have some systems in place, which are things like I run this zero inbox thing, which is very helpful to me because I can't go to bed unless I have a zero inbox.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, well, otherwise I'd just fret about it. So
Fair enough.
that helps me operationally do all the things that I need to do. And then I have a couple of systems where I have my annual and quarterly objectives for each of those businesses, and I'm ensure that everything I'm doing is in service of those objectives. So I have that system open, and if I find myself doing something during the day which is not in service of one of those objectives, I stop and I do something else.
Great. So it kind of keeps you accountable throughout the day.
Yeah. But that's just the little things that keep me on track and focused.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this thing? Is it going to be in service of one of those goals? If not, don't do it.
Because it's so easy to get distracted, and like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, oh, new business idea, or oh, I might as well do this, and then all of a sudden you've kind of deviated so far from what your core intention was in the morning, and it's 3:00 and you haven't done anything. So
Yeah. And I'm lucky enough to be approached at the moment by some businesses to either sit on their board as advisors, or just be a normal director as well. So I do have some responsibility there as well, which is crazy given that I'm the one advising people, which I've never thought that would be possible.
Why?
Because I don't know anything. So, I've got imposter syndrome, right?
That's not true. You're on the Real Biz Life Chronicles. You know a lot.
Okay, sure.
And tell me, where did the zero inbox thing come from?
It's just a way of managing my life. I don't know, just kind of, it just evolved over time. I didn't read an article and say, I need to do
like
zero.
A book or something,
it was just like, I need to do these things. If an email comes in and I don't need to action it, I'll just delete it straight away or move it into a folder where I don't see it. If I need to keep it, if it's like a signed contract or something like that. But if there's something I need to action, I'll leave it in my inbox and I'll make sure that I do it that day.
Wow, that's dedication. So like 48-hour turnaround. Yeah,
and so much so that, if I'm paying invoices that we need to pay, I will literally pay it that day that it comes in. It's not great for cash flow. I was looking at Xero today going, average time to get paid is 55 days. Average time to pay a supplier 1 day. So, a bit of a disparity there.
So you just paid on the spot?
Most times, yeah.
Right,
Unless it's payroll tax, then I'll pay it on the very last day.
Yes.
Or if I pay it at all. But
Yes,
don't tell the government I'm
No,
here.
we won't publish that part.
Yeah.
I used to operate like that, but I just found it would disrupt my day so much. So what we do is we'll have Mav monitors my inbox, my angel ops manager. The invoices come through. We have a system whereby everything gets put into the system. And then on a Monday, invoices get paid. So I found that's kind of
which is a better way of operating.
Because otherwise you're just you're constantly on the fly the whole time. So I found that's one where I've kind of dealt with that. But it's so true. I know if there's an invoice or an email in my inbox or message, you have a bit of anxiety around it, and one has to. I'm the same with my phone. I have to clear it before the end of the day because I just can't otherwise.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll star it and make sure I have to action it at a later time. But if I've got to keep that below a certain threshold, otherwise I will get anxiety and.
Yeah. Do you WhatsApp yourself?
No, I Slack myself.
Right, yes, I WhatsApp myself. I had to tailor back on that because otherwise, you've got 12 messages by the end of the day. I'm like, this is relentless.
Yeah.
Hamish, you're passionate about disrupting traditional IT practices. What's broken about the way businesses approach technology, and why is nobody brave enough to fix it?
Oh, that's an interesting question. And I think the technology industry is actually going through disrupting itself at the moment. So with the advent of generative AI, I think the first industry that has been disrupted or will be disrupted is software development, because engineers or software engineers are really good at making themselves redundant. I still think the role is required, but I think that role is changing significantly from a sitting down writing code for 8 hours a day or 5 hours a day or whatever they used to orchestrating an agent to be able to do that to a degree. There's still a level of knowledge required to ensure that it is doing the right thing, because as I've found as well, because I've dived into it recently, it's not always right, and it asks you some fairly technical questions that if you don't have the knowledge, you will get wrong.
Yeah.
So whilst I think there's going to be and continue to be a level of disruption happening, it still requires good practices around software development to enforce quality software out there. And there's a lot of shit software, let's be honest. So,
yeah, definitely. Our industry is exactly the same in terms of branding, graphic design, copywriting. You know, if you're not careful, it can get it wrong. So it has to still be human first approach, and then using it as a tool as opposed to trying to create the entire strategy in AR. I mean, that might change, but I think from what I've seen.
Yeah, and you can generally tell when content has been created through an AI, whether it's the use of M dashes or just the language that's being used. And there's not a lot of different content coming out at times, and that is attention grabbing, right? So all of a sudden someone actually writes something original and people are like, oh, that's pretty good. Same happens with software. If you do some original thinking around how to implement something or what you're actually building, rather than what's been done before, because you know, all these LLMs, they've been traded off our body of knowledge that currently exists, not that new stuff that doesn't exist. So they're not going to go around solving problems that don't exist.
Yeah, that's a good point. So do you think we'll really showcase those who are different and actually do the hard graft without AI?
I think it'll. I think the people that will win will probably mix both, but mix it in an exceptional way.
So lean into it.
So the good thing about the use of AI is that it can speed things up, so we can get to market quicker, right? The bad thing is you can produce AI slop, which, you know, is that kind of the term that's been coined for just the crap that comes out of people using it every day. And, you know, I get sent countless things that I can just tell are generated from ChatGPT. Even so much as people copy it now and they don't even take the before and after bits out. So it's like, that's... It's
got the do you want me to, you know,
yeah, exactly. So it's pretty embarrassing, really. So, maybe put some thought into it. Actually, a friend of mine or a colleague was telling me the other day, she was recruiting for a marketing junior person, and she got 700 applicants for this role.
Wow.
Which is a lot. So
That's
hard to go through that as a human.
Manually,
So she did whittle them out, but she had a bunch, I think, you know, that had cover letters, and apparently 50 of the cover letters were identical.
Oh my goodness, on 700 applications. Whoa.
Absolutely word for word identical.
Word.
So that's obviously
that prompted the same. Oh my goodness. Wow. I know I've got a few as well. You can just tell with the cover letter, like, you know, dear hiring manager, and then it's just bang on the same. So.
Yes.
So you solve hard business problems with software, but what's one human problem underneath every tech problem that nobody wants to admit?
So tech very rarely is the problem. It is always people. And generally it's getting something from someone's head, so an idea, into a digital medium. That's always the problem that I generally see. And most of the problems in software stem from that. The idea that I want this thing, and to be able to talk about that thing in a way that someone else can understand. So coming up with that. And we've got lots of techniques for that in software, whether it's using a designer to come up with a visual concept to kind of say, is this what you mean? You know, is this what you're expecting? No, just tweak this, that, there, here, or, you know, other things. But then it's also the way the software behaves. So it's not just how it looks, but it's how it behaves as well. And there's other techniques for eliciting that as well. So the behavior of software. And then there's how does it perform at scale? How does it, is it resilient? Is it secure? That's all the stuff you don't see, the non-functional stuff. But all the stuff you see is the how it, you know, getting that from someone's brain into a bit of working software. And that is generally pretty hard.
I find branding's the same. Whilst it's built around, you know, the ideal client, trying to bring that business owner on the journey, implement their ideas, bring that out. Obviously, we've got a process that we go through, but I find that's the most challenging part. And also when you having a marketing business, that when you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself on display, maximum exposure. So it's pretty brave. So a lot of people deal with imposter syndrome and doubts and all those other lovely things that come with, actually putting yourself out there.
Yeah. And it's not easy, I think. And the problem also is when you add more people into the mix. So it's easier when it's one person. So if you come to me and said, Hamish, I want to put a brand together for, Hamish.
Yeah.
It's great because we can have that conversation. But as soon as you want to do it for Mechanical Rock, we're involving more people into that discussion. So it's, and as you see, as a business grows larger, like an enterprise, like a mining company or whatever, the more people you add, the more complex and the more relationships there are and the more ideas or perceptions or understanding or misunderstandings happen. So it becomes more complex as well. It's not easy.
No. So that's what I always recommend, like having that ideal client or ideal clients in mind, and that's who it's built around. I find that kind of helps with that navigation of when there's so many different people, giving their input, because otherwise, like, one doesn't get anywhere fast at all.
Exactly. You need a benevolent dictator.
Yeah, definitely. Well, on that note, that leads really well into my next question. So you've lived the tension between a personal brand and a business brand. Which one matters more in your opinion, and can you separate them?
I can, I think. I don't really. I think everyone's selling something.
Yeah.
Everyone's selling the idea of who they are, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
What you wear, how you present yourself, whatever. And that to me is a personal brand. And I very much distinguish Hamish from Mechanical Rock because I've also got other businesses as well. Yes, Mechanical Rock's probably my main baby, but there's, I've got opinions which sometimes can be contrary or affect Mechanical Rock in a negative way, and I've seen the effects of that, before. So I'm not. Sometimes I've made some comments on LinkedIn or in public forums which have followed me around, and that's. But those people will tie Hamish to Mechanical Rock.
Yeah.
So it's inescapable in a way, because the reality is, if I leave Mechanical Rock doesn't exist. Now, and unfortunately, I'm trying to get away from that. And at some point, it may go beyond Hamish. Yeah, but the reality is, at the moment, I'm doing 6 or 7 roles. So, and until I get down to maybe 1 or 2 roles within the business, then maybe there's a succession plan. Beyond Hamish, because Hamish can only take a business so far, right?
As can Tracy Fryer. Yeah, you can feel quite limited, but yes. Is that the goal, to eventually step away fully? Or?
I had this crazy idea that the people that work at Mechanical Rock should own and run Mechanical Rock.
Okay.
So
like shareholders? Or?
But the problem there is, the reality is, not everyone has the liquidity available or the capital behind them to be able to do that, especially as you grow your business. It becomes more valuable. And if you give something to someone, they don't value it.
No.
So there has to be a financial transaction there where they're parting with their own money, because then there's a visceral connection to them and the business. So they will value it differently. And that's an important distinction, I think. So once I really fully understood that, I realized that employee ownership is probably a pipe dream. And when I talk about employee ownership, I'm not just talking about you and you. I'm talking about everyone within the business has a shareholding of the business. Yeah. Some may have more, some may have less, but everyone does at some point in time.
Yeah.
And that's probably a naive view. Read too much Ricardo Semler.
I was going to say, is there someone that does that? Not one of the...
I don't know if you've read the book Maverick by Ricardo Semler. He did something... He kind of gave the business to his employees.
Maybe this is where I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not strictly speaking, but so it was kind of that idea of that experiment. He was already a billionaire, so it doesn't really matter to him. Right? So, yeah.
So I did read somewhere, I just want to backtrack to your previous comment earlier, that you don't care what people think, and is that what makes you voice your opinion so confidently?
I do care what people think, but I think it depends on who it is.
Right.
The people closer to me, I definitely value their opinions more than I do. But I kind of remember growing up, I was, up until probably 18, quite worried about what other people thought about me. And at some point, I think around that time, I actually just thought, you know what, I don't care. And it kind of changed my life, really, because that's when I went off to the UK, started my own business, and I was a lot happier, I think, as well. So, yeah.
So that was at 18?
Probably around that age, 18. Yeah.
I was a lot later, so it's good you had it so early.
Yeah, but you're probably more intelligent than I am.
Oh, no, I was like 4 years ago.
It requires a low level of intelligence just to not care what people think.
Don't say that. No. I did it 4 years ago. It was so freeing. Not to say I absolutely don't care would be incorrect, but I think it's just freeing to, align with your purpose, what you're doing. And, I think about the people that might hate on it, but then there's those that absolutely find value and enjoy it. And like with the podcast, putting myself out there, the guests out there, there's been so much reward for everyone. It's like if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't done it because of the naysayers, it would have never reached that. So.
Yeah, and I think you'll find the people that, well, to be honest, people don't really think that much about other people. People are more thinking about themselves, right?
Completely.
So when you realize that, you think, okay, well, if people don't really care that much about what I do, then
just go with
why
it.
should I care what? So I think you back
true.
yourself a bit more as well. I think, and you end up having a lot more fun and being more true to who you are as a person, maybe.
But both Sophie and you are like that naturally. Is that from your upbringing or?
Maybe, but like our parents, baby boomers, right? So they're just you go over there and do your thing. I don't want to see you for 8 hours.
Fair enough.
And we go over and do that thing, and then we come back and go, I'm hungry. So it was very different to the upbringing of today's kids. But also I think, my mum was a nurse, and I would always be like, oh, Mum, I'm not feeling great. And she's like, I don't care. You're going to school, so very
love.
hard. Yeah. Tough love. So when you grow up in that, and also with a entrepreneurial, I hesitate to use that word because my father hates it.
Yeah.
But then it's a different type of upbringing, and also immigrants as well. So, it makes you view life in a maybe slightly different lens.
Oh, it does. Yeah. So your parents immigrated here?
Yeah, so my mum came here when she was quite young, so I think about 5 or 6 from Scotland. But my dad came over when he was 18 from Belgium, and he couldn't speak a word of English either.
Wow.
So, that was, so it was, it must have been a challenge for him. I went to the UK when I was 20, I think, or something around that time, but it was an English-speaking country, so and Aussies are fairly welcomed. So
yeah. Definitely, because I've immigrated 4 times with my family, and every time you have to start again, but not being able to actually speak the language, like that's super brave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Hamish, you've gone all in when everyone else thought you were crazy, way too often by your own admission. Give us one moment where you genuinely thought this might be it.
Well, relatively. It was actually probably last year. I thought I was done for, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Well, look, we had a lean year last year, and the first few months were fairly awful, and it, the economy is pretty hard to read these days, given global situations, and global leadership is of varying degrees of maturity. And that affects Australia and Perth sometimes more than others, because we are a resources-led state. So the gold price, the iron ore price, the oil and gas price, it's all affects the work. Anyway, last year was fairly lean for us at the start of the year, and I thought I didn't actually see a way out at some point. And also when you have a set of leaders within your business that kind of times get tough and they opt out, it's not great as well. So
that happened?
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. So, and I feel like, those times you really need people around you that you can trust. And I think, we got through it. But I was worried. I think, it was pretty harrowing at some point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, still here, still survive, stronger for it.
Cheers on that. I'd love to know, that's a very challenging place to be in. What made you keep going?
Look, I don't think there was any option. There's no option but survival,
Yeah,
so
I've been there.
You've just got to find a way. And that could be any number of things. But for me, it's like work harder, work smarter. The number one thing for me was I didn't want to lose any of my people along the way.
Yeah.
So making sure I was looking after them was the imperative. And I probably did that at the expense of my own personal wealth, to be honest.
Yeah, that's your leadership. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty bad, to be honest. And but I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now. I've got, as I was mentioning earlier, I've got people around me that are really just fulfilling their roles.
Great.
And we've got role clarity within our business, and they're actually doing really well, which is allowing me to free up more time to work on the business rather than in. So yeah,
awesome.
It's good.
You mentioned something earlier when you said, having the right people around you. Was that your team, or do you meant like external to your business, as in other business owners, or like mentorship?
I was referring more to the people within the business.
Got it.
But I do have people around me as well that I can speak to and rely on, or get some advice from.
Great.
So I'm part of this Adapt network.
Oh yes, with Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe, and so the founder is a guy called Bill Withers, who founded another tech business called Acquire as well. I do have regular catch-ups with him as well. And I do get some words in sometimes, which is nice, but I do...
Does he like to chat?
He does, yeah. But I do mainly listen. We catch up for breakfast every month or two, which is nice. So just having those people that you can talk to about problems. And so there's a few of us that went to breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and I explained a problem that I had within the business, and they were really useful in terms of their experience. And they've been leading businesses for 20, 30 years, these guys each. So there's a lot of experience around that table. There was 4 of us there, and it's really nice. So catch up regularly and talk about this stuff. And then I've got my sister as well. I can always talk to.
So you guys bounce ideas sometimes?
Sometimes. We used to do coffees quite often, but haven't been doing it recently.
Right.
But hopefully we can get back to doing that. There's people around. But it is a lonely venture sometimes, being especially if you're a sole owner of a business.
Yes, it can be. Yeah, if you don't have that partnership or something, because that's something I actually underestimated when I started my business. And obviously over the last 5 years, just finding those key people, that core group that you can rely on when stuff gets really hard, or when it feels like, why am I doing this? Oh, that's right, I'm unemployable, so I have to keep going. I'm done.
You use PC.
Same as Soph. Yes,
exactly.
Yes. He's been a saving grace. There's maybe been 2 or 3 times I'm like, I'm done, I'm over it. He's like, what are you going to do? We're going to go get a job and then quit in 2 years' time? I'm like, yes, probably. So he reminds
what's the
me.
alternative?
Yes, because I had a pattern. Like, I had this pattern where every 2 years I was getting a new job. And then July 2020, after COVID, I had this epiphany. I'm like, what am I doing? And then started Design Studio Perth. But yes, having those core people, having that community when it does get tough, and to celebrate when it's good as well, has been really valuable. So
and that's actually one of the core values at Mechanical Rock is celebrate the wins, or celebrate the small things. And you're just reminding yourself that you're actually not too bad sometimes. You've got to actually do that. So
Yeah.
I think it's important.
It is. And I wasn't doing that enough. I have a goal, I get there, and then that's when it's just ended and I'm setting the next one. I had to slow right back down and be like, it's okay to actually take a moment to celebrate this win, what you've achieved, because otherwise it's hard grafting and no celebration. Like, what's the actual point at the end of the day if you're just constantly going? And I don't know about you, like my mind doesn't stop. Like it goes 28/7.
So it's a bit slower these days than it used to be, but I think that's an age thing for me. So
okay, there's hope for me.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we also have a great coach through the Adapt Network.
I've heard good things,
His name's Tig, and he comes in and he just reminds us that we're actually not too bad. We're one of the better organizations that he works with in terms of hitting our quarterly objectives and our annual objectives and the systemization within our business and that kind of thing. So that's always nice to hear. So it's just a little pat on the back for everyone at Mechanical Rock.
And how do you put that imposter syndrome at bay? You mentioned it earlier.
Just ignore it. Completely
okay.
ignore it. Yeah. So when you feel that coming up, you're like, I don't know what I'm talking about here. You just ignore it and just talk even louder, like you actually know what you're talking about. And that's the way you do it.
Why do you think so many of us struggle with that?
I think it's a natural human tendency to doubt yourself around certain areas. But I'll always say when I don't know something, I think you've got to be honest with the people that you're talking to, but also yourself. And I'm always first to call out if I don't understand something or I don't know something. And one of the guys I used to work with in the UK, he did that really well. He would always start a conversation, or at least during a conversation, if someone was talking in technical terms or something he didn't really understand, he would say, sorry, guys, we need to slow down because I'm the stupidest guy in the room here, so please explain this to me in really small terms. And it usually turned out that the people that were talking didn't actually understand what they were talking about.
Oh, wow, so they didn't even know themselves.
No, they would talk in acronyms and some technical terms, and they couldn't actually explain what that meant sometimes. So, him doing that and slowing everything down was actually a tactic on his behalf. It wasn't that he was not the smartest person in the room. Yeah. It was that he was actually very smart and he was calling bullshit to some degree on those things. So.
That is smart.
Well, at least that's what I think it was.
Well, it sounds
maybe
like
he
we'll
was
go
stupid.
with that.
Who knows?
So, Hamish, 20 years, 2 countries, multiple companies. What have you had to completely unlearn to keep growing?
I think it is the tendency of an entrepreneur to need to do everything. And that is the hardest thing for me, is to let people just do the role that they are accountable for. Because if you think about an entrepreneur, you start a business usually by yourself. So all of a sudden, you're a technician within the business. So you're doing the marketing, or you're doing the coding, or you're doing whatever it is. But you're also doing the sales. You're also doing the finances. You're doing the client relationship management. So you understand intimately all the systems within the business.
Yeah.
And what that means is that when someone comes on to do a particular role, you actually probably understand that role, but all the interlinked systems within the business. And generally, the personality of an entrepreneur is that you can't help yourself. You'll just go and fix things if you see it's broken. And that's not a healthy thing to do. You've got to let people fail or give them feedback. And I struggle with feedback as well. Give them feedback to then course correct so they know what the expectations, or they know how to do things properly so they actually learn. So I think that's probably the thing that I'm the worst at, if that's the question.
Yeah, it is. Do you mean giving feedback or receiving feedback?
Well, both. No one likes feedback. The natural tendency of someone receiving feedback is, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, that's not true. I went up out of the jar. It is actually true.
Maybe after the fact, when you think about it.
48-hour cool down, Tracy.
Yes, exactly. No, I try to give feedback in constructive ways. I don't think it always lands. I've had multiple I just don't think I'm very good at providing feedback, and sometimes I avoid providing feedback because I actually like people, and maybe I'm invested in them as well.
Sure.
So you can see their hearts breaking sometimes if you're like, that was shit.
You feel like the bad cop. I used to do it when I got my first designer, because obviously, like you say, I started as the graphic designer. I was doing everything, accounts lady, receptionist. Got my first graphic designer, and she sent me the proof, and I go straight into fixing it. And I did it, and I was like, why does she keep doing the same thing? And I realized every time I do it, I take the lesson away from her. So now I don't do any of that. Rudy oversees everything, but yeah, otherwise you're just constantly in that cycle where I think in the beginning I really struggled to delegate because I felt like I wasn't needed, and that's my own thing. But the more I've done it, the easier it's kind of got.
Yeah.
Because like you say, when you have to give someone feedback, it's the way you give the feedback as well, I guess. But yeah, that person, especially creatives, like they take it so personally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of drawing a line between like that personal aspect of the feedback, but this is about the business or the outcome or that kind of thing as well. So. It's a work in progress from my side. I'm getting better, but it's also feedback goes towards accountability, right? So if you don't have a clear role description with accountability, and you're not providing feedback around that or the work that's done with I think there's no real point. So you need to be able to kind of tie it back to what people's role description is and what their accountabilities are.
Yeah, and I hope Rudy doesn't mind me sharing this. So Rudy started as a graphic designer with us, and he's been with us for 3 years. And through this process of giving feedback, I've also had to learn to give feedback and help Rudy lead in his own way. He's naturally just taken on this leadership role. It's been so great to see. There's things that he's suggesting, and just seeing that transformation is what I love as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen that recently with a number of people within our business. You provide them the freedom to do things however they want, because everyone does things differently. As long as the outcome is, the important thing. Yeah.
Hamish, what does success cost that nobody talks about?
Well, I'm not a success, so I wouldn't know.
You undersell yourself.
I think people look at people and they think they're a success, right? But what they don't understand is the work or the what actually goes into becoming that, and I use in quotes, a success, because that is a very subjective viewpoint.
Yeah.
If someone says, "Oh, Hamish, you're a success," I would not agree with them. I don't think I am yet.
Okay.
At some point, maybe. But there's lots of different things that it costs. It could cost a relationship, right? Because being a entrepreneur or a business owner can be hard, and at times you may not be as accessible to your partner as you should be or could be. It could cost you time with your children. It could cost you friendships. There's people within my business that I would call a friend, but it's hard to become a real friend to them if you're also their boss.
Yeah.
So it's I think there's a lot of things that people don't realize that come along with the job.
So what in your mind would make you successful then?
Well, I used to have a goal of wanting to be doing the heavy roller at Melville Cricket Club.
Right.
So having enough capital behind me that I wouldn't have to worry about, my family needing anything, and having to spend too much time on my business. But I could just go down to the local cricket club and just do the heavy roller. That would be great. So just listen to some tunes while I'm doing that. I'm no longer involved with Melville Cricket Club, but maybe I'd do it for South Perth Cricket Club. Who knows?
On the cards?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Play a bit of tennis.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's so interesting because I find we have these goals, we get there, and then we feel like we're not successful. I mean, the fact that you and I can, record this podcast, have the time out of our business to do that, in my mind, is successful, right?
Yeah.
But that bar constantly gets moved. So it's the same for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You achieve something and you forget about that in a second. So
yes.
It's, I used to think that if we made, whatever 100,000
Yeah,
or
even like 10K
$1 million
months.
in a month. That was a massive goal. And then
Yeah.
as soon as you do that, you forget about it and you move on to the next goal.
Yeah, so true.
I wouldn't even remembered that. And they're vanity metrics, right?
Of course,
because
yeah.
you could be making you could be turning over $1 million a month, but not making any profit. So what does that mean? I think what's more important is why are you doing it? What's the outcome? What's the end goal? In software, we always say, well, start with the end in mind. What does the end look like? And then we move back and then we work out how to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely. I was doing the same with my running. Like I'd sign up for a half and then I'd be, oh, yeah, I'm going to do marathon. Sign up for marathon. I was like, oh, I need to do the next one. So I did 3 last year and I was like, Tracy, just slow down and enjoy. So now I have a coach, which has reminded me, Karen, slow down, Trace. It's okay just to kind of back it off.
But why are you running?
It is very meditative. It's
Okay.
very healing, I find. It's helped with, I had quite a challenging year in 2024 and running just became like my healing zone, I found. Also to challenge the stories, to tell myself that I wasn't a runner. But I just find it really, especially with business, like it's quite full on, as you know, and my brain doesn't stop. So I find in that time, it just kind of sets me up for the day. So run most, every second day in the morning. So twofold, to inspire others, to keep my own mental health in check as well. And then just the community. I love talking. So it's been really nice to meet some incredible people.
Yeah, there's a lot of good running clubs out there. I'm not involved with them, but my wife is a runner as well.
She?
And she's, so she really enjoys it. And I think that was a big part of her becoming a bit more comfortable in, Perth and finding her feet and finding a group or a tribe that she can hang out with as well. So that's good. But yeah, running's too boring for me.
Oh, right.
I need any sort of ball that I can run after, that's fine.
So like cricket or soccer or...
Cricket, tennis.
Right.
Soccer, whatever. Football,
Yeah.
we call it football. So.
Football, yeah. I played netball for a while, but oh my goodness, copped that ball in my face a bit too many times, my fingers, and I was like, my physio said, Trace, when it's time. I think it was a week later, got whacked in the face, my finger got dislocated and I rolled my ankle. I just lay there and was like, I'm done.
It's funny, my girls have played every sport under the sun, and I reckon netball is the worst for ankles, for knees, for fingers, everything. And it's pretty aggressive as well.
It's aggressive. The girls are. Like, it's supposed to be a non-contact sport, but it's super hectic. So, I stopped playing about 8 years ago now. Okay. So, safer. Running is safer in that regard. Hamish, do you have an unpopular opinion that employees secretly job hunting while still employed is a form of deceit? You've copped a bit of grief for this. We're going there. Tell us everything.
Look, this comes from the Adapt network, I think, and Bill himself shares this opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be too upset with me saying that. Look, I think we come from a world where there's a power hierarchy, and you've got your employer and employee, and the relationship or the power is very much on the employer's side. So I understand why it happens. I'm trying to build an organization where it's a peer-to-peer relationship rather than a parent-child relationship.
Sure. And
people are the hardest thing in any business. So managing a person, we talk as an organization in our strategy team about people issues, and that dominates everything. How people are performing, what their mental health is, how they're relating to their colleagues, what the quality of their work is like, these types of things. And it takes a massive... It's a huge expense on our business in terms of managing and kind of dealing with people.
Yeah.
And if you add that into a person or a key person within the business, and everyone within our business is key, that decides to go with no real heads up to say we weren't expecting that. And I've had this on several occasions where key people that I've offered roles that have been, fairly senior within our business, and then the next week they'll leave without huge amount of any kind of notice to me as an owner, and being able to plan and have clarity over plans is very important.
Absolutely.
If someone doesn't want to work in the organization anymore, I accept that, and it breaks my heart as a business owner, but I accept that. But all I ask is for clarity over that decision, and being able to have a succession plan in place. Someone going, "See you later, I'm out of here," is one of the worst things that a business can have. And so I don't go around without telling people within our business that I'm going to replace them with someone else. I would never do that. That's unethical. And I kind of want to be afforded the same respect, that if someone is going to go somewhere else, they just give us some kind of indication. And I understand that in the US, for instance, they don't have the same level of rights to workers. So the power differential is even greater. In Australia, it's not as great. So there's the employee has rights, but I don't want to even talk about that. I just want to talk about a peer-to-peer relationship. We're saying, I'm done. I've spent 2 years or 3 years in this organization. I think I'm ready for a new challenge. Okay, I'll be looking for a job, and when I find that job, that's great. Okay, I can plan with that. Then I can bring in a succession to that particular role, but having no notice or no indication, and that indication might just be, look, I'm really unhappy. Just a flag of that. That's like, oh, okay, all right. If they're unhappy, they're at maybe a risk of leaving or that kind of thing. But if someone says, oh, mate, I'm enjoying this. This is the best job of my life, and then the next week leaves, that's deceit.
Of course.
And I've had that a couple of times. So, it's...
Same.
So,
I've had the same.
And I understand why it happens, but I don't need to like it.
No, but I think you've actually raised a good point, because I think if there is that open communication, things change. People want a new experience. They want to broaden their career horizon. If there is that open communication, like, look, I've loved what I've done, but I'm thinking of doing X, it would just make things so much easier, especially as a business owner. Because if someone's just like, I'm done, I'm out, it leaves you in this hole, and then you have to try and navigate out of it and then try and put on the rest of the team. So it just causes all this other stress. And it happens, but I do think it would be nice if people had, I guess, the maturity to kind of just sit down and say, look, this is what I'm thinking. So.
And look, some people have done that before, and, I really appreciate that. But I've also had situations where I said, right, thanks for the heads up, appreciate that. All right, it'd be great, we can have a succession plan for your role, and the succession plan can't be that I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
And what do you think eventuated? I'm doing everything. So
that's the thing, right? We have to pick up the slack, regardless. So.
Exactly.
Hamish, what would 85-year-old Hamish be furious at you for not doing?
There won't be an 85-year-old Hamish. He'll be done by 60.
Okay, so what would 60-year-old Hamish be furious at you for not doing?
I don't think it would be anything to do with work. It'd definitely be a lot more personal stuff. So, I'm still yet to go to South America. So that he'd be furious about that. I don't know. Maybe spending more time with my kids, although they don't want to spend any time with me anymore, which is,
because of their age? Or?
Yeah, exactly. They're at that point where dad
cool.
is, he's not cool anymore.
You should just go to South America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think, if I can get away a bit more and travel a bit more. When I lived in the UK, we traveled a lot, and that was
so central.
Also pre-kids. So yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. What about you?
Oh, wow. Put it back on me. The fact that I didn't, I think, put myself out there more. I think I just, I feel like I have this calling in my life to help people, especially business owners who are really great at what they do, come out of the shadows, go to market, have content in market. And I think I always feel like I'm not doing enough. So I think 85-year-old Tracy would be really upset if I didn't do more of it, and also just take more risks. So often I get so caught up in my own head that I prevent myself from doing things. So, and definitely traveling more. There'd probably be a list. And not doing an ultra, but I'm still a bit nervous to do that. So it's a
Should do an ultra with my wife. She's done one.
Yes, well, yes, please hook us up. Definitely. I want to do comrades. I was going to do it this year, but I didn't have enough strength in my legs, so maybe next year. But then I'm like running for 89 Ks. Like, where would my mind go? So.
Just do a leg to start off with. Just do half.
Yeah.
45 Ks.
I've done the marathon, but it's kind of like you get to that 35K mark, and I'm sure your wife has shared, like your mind starts to go in other places. I'm like, can you imagine getting to like 85 Ks? Like, where would I still be there? It's not Tracy anymore. It's Stacey. Stacey deep fryer, another person. So
I did one leg of the Margaret River Ultra, and that killed me. So
wow. So how far is that?
It was the shortest leg. It was like 13 Ks or something.
Right.
But it was sand dunes up and down.
Brutal.
So, and by the end of it, I think I was nearly dead.
Well, yes. Yeah. Last year I did an obstacle course with Mal at Scarborough, and it was like 5 Ks of sand running and road running and obstacles and jumping over these wall things. And whose idea was this? I was ruined by the end of it.
Crazy.
I'd rather run 42 Ks any day over that.
Yeah.
So it was hectic.
Yeah. But it was good fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it.
Fun, but I nearly died.
Done. Yeah, I don't need to do it. I would like to do the Rotto swim though as well. I haven't done that yet. So my youngest daughter, she's quite a good swimmer, so I'm on her team.
Oh, nice. And Bustleton swim?
No, too many sharks.
Yes, it was quite a sight. I was there a few weeks ago. So did the run, and then a couple of friends did the swim. But amazing, like all these swimmers, it was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamish, after all you've achieved, are you truly happy?
Geez, what a question. Am I truly happy?
Yes.
Is anyone truly happy?
I think some moments, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know.
I'm very lucky. Firstly, I was born into a family that cared for me. Tick. Yeah. I've got a beautiful family. So tick. I live in a beautiful house. Tick. I've got a great company with great people. Tick. So I've got a lot to be happy about. But if I wake up any day and I haven't had a coffee, then I'm probably not happy. And
fair enough.
It goes like this. But I am thankful for everything I've got, which is mainly just luck. So yeah, I'm truly thankful for that. Am I happy? When I'm on the heavy roller at South Perth Cricket Club, maybe I'll tell you then.
Maybe you should just start doing that, like just for a few hours.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it takes, but yeah, just carve out some time, go give it a whirl, see if
I
like
reckon if I go back and forth for like 2 hours on the pitch, I could do a phone call from there, or I could do a conference call or something.
When you get bored doing that all day?
Yeah, totally.
You could run.
Oh, no, that's the worst thing on the planet.
You mentioned luck. Do you think it's luck or hard work?
I think it's luck, it's timing. It's a lot to do with putting yourself out there as well. So the more times you put yourself out there in structured and coherent ways, then the more chance you have of being lucky.
True.
If you never play the lottery, you're never going to win the lottery.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad analogy, but if you never put yourself out there, if you're always the person that says no, you're just never going to be lucky.
Yeah.
And I think, it's if you say yes, often enough, and you say yes in the right areas. Like, I don't go around saying yes to businesses all the time, or investing in them, or taking equity stakes in businesses. There's a very measured approach around, is there a commercial element to it? Is there a team backing it that can sell it? Because I know that I can de-risk it from a technical perspective, because I have a great team around me that can deliver great software, but we're not the salespeople that can sell this idea. There's so many times where people have come to me and said, I've got a great idea for an app. It's Uber for boats. I'm like, thank you. See you later.
Uber for boats. I'm still taking that in.
I think it's been done, but I don't think the demand's there either.
No, I'm just wondering about that one. Hamish, if every business owner listening took just one thing from our conversation and applied it tomorrow, what would you want that to be?
I think just believe in yourself, back yourself, push that voice down inside of you that says you're not enough or you're not good enough, and actually just give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more people give it a shot. One of the best moments of my career happened recently where someone who'd worked for Mechanical Rock for 7.5 years, he went out on his own to run a tech business. And it was the feeling I'd never experienced before. I was so almost proud, which was great. And I'd love to see more people do that. I'd love to, not all my employees because I need them, but
don't get ahead of yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Not yet. No, maybe in 5 years, but look, I backed him as well in the sense that I invested in that business. But it warms my heart to see people do that, back themselves and really give it a shot, because if you don't give it a shot, you're never going to find out. And I just love the positivity of that. I just love the idea that people can do what they're really passionate about and potentially make bucket loads of money if they do. But it's not about the money. It's about the journey to get there. Yeah. Because once you get some money, you realise that money's never enough.
Yep, about that. Yes.
Maybe
like
it is.
Marathon
Maybe
goal.
There's a very few people out there that, they've got too much. And we should tax the bejesus out of them. But, the reality is that, you don't always end in that fairy tale story of selling out for 100 million or $1 billion or whatever. So, but if you can earn enough money and still be passionate about what you do, I think that's really important.
I think it's really great as well as a business owner. I mean, there's two ways that could have gone with that person. You could have viewed it as a threat to your business and, as a competitor. Would he have been?
No, he's running a very, it's a tech business, but it's a product business for a very specific market. So he's building out a patient pathway for orthopedic surgeons.
Right.
So health industry is really, he's really passionate about that. And if I can have a very tiny, if I can help out in a very small way, then, that's great.
Yeah.
Because I believe in him. So believing in him means I believe in the business.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's really nice.
For every business owner listening who needs someone to help solve their hard problems with software, how can they work with Mechanical Rock and where can they find you?
Great question. I'm always available, annoyingly available on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm trying to tone back the constant trolling. My personal brand is being diluted to be a bit more amicable. But you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can just go onto the Mechanical Rock website and send us a message, and myself or Rosie or someone at Mechanical Rock will be in contact. We're pretty easy to find. There's not many Mechanical Rocks out there.
No.
So, yep.
Great. We'll pop all the links in the show notes as well. Hamish, what are the things we should have spoken about on the show, but we haven't?
Well, we've covered heavy rollers.
Running. We've
covered some tennis. We've
Imposter
talked
syndrome.
a bit about imposter syndrome. A bit about running as well, which is good. I don't know. I think we've covered it all. I'm sure there's something. Oh, we didn't talk about surfing.
Right.
I love surfing.
I can't surf. I can boogie board badly.
Bodyboard.
Bodyboard. Sorry, maybe is that a South African term? Boogie board?
No, that's a brand.
Oh, oopsie. Hamish, finish this sentence. For every business owner listening tonight, the thing I want you to remember is?
Mechanical Rock builds great software. No.
And I said tonight. Oh my gosh. Any time of day.
No, just go for it. Believe in yourself. And I think you'll be fine. Calculated risks. Do it.
Hamish, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great getting to know Sophie and you. I think you're both absolute powerhouses. So thank you so much for your time.
She's definitely the better sibling.
Oh, my goodness. Actually, I think she said the same. I think she did.
Probably. She got the brains, she got the looks. Yeah, I'm just, I got the comedy value. There you go.
Great. Well, I do think you undersell yourself, but it's great to see all that you've done, and hats off. 7 major things that you're involved in. I'm part of 3, and that's more than I can handle. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Skin and bone, but I feel it now.